Hello, this is Danny Raymond, the voice behind Ray's Guide, and today I'm going to go more deeply into the preview given on December 1st of the rework of the RSI Polaris. I'm going to spend a lot of the time looking at something that many of the other reaction videos went straight by, and that was the momentary showing of labeled floor plans. Because, hey, you put a labeled floor plan in front of an architect, and you know they're going to hit pause on it. And unlike even the Inside Star Citizen video, I'm going to want to be careful to distinguish between the old and the new images that are shown. But I'm going to start off with another thing a lot of folks missed. And that is that we have an RSI subcapital ship, the Polaris, being reconcepted right after another RSI subcapital ship, the Galaxy. And bear in mind that in order to have all the marketing materials and such ready for the IAE, the design of the Galaxy had to be finished some time ago. And I find it encouraging, because rather than dispersing the Galaxy design team to various smaller projects, they kept them together and on another large ship, even another RSI one. And you may recall, keeping the large ship design team together, working on large ship designs, one after another, was exactly what I said needed to be done to make progress on CIG's large ship backlog. And ideally now, to keep the momentum, the same thing needs to be done for whichever of these ships, Polaris or Galaxy, is picked up by the white box team. They have another ready on the shelf right behind it, and ideally, soon even another behind that, and another. Same thing for the gray box team and the final art team. Their willingness to tackle large ships back to back, rather than feeling that they have to be dispersed for a breather and then work to be reassembled after each large ship, is encouraging. So on to the floor plans themselves. Starting here at the nose, which really is the nose, with much better visibility than the Galaxy. Imagine sitting there with these size 10 torpedoes come flying out right from under their feet. There's a central captain's chair, and then apparently two helm positions in front of it, and then, not well seen in this view, two sunken tactical seats, likely for remote turrets or other functions that don't need the same field of vision. Then there are stairs up to a hallway, which I suspect might be access points for things like avionics and sensors to the starboard, and what looks like 4 suit closets for the bridge crew on the port side. Then there is the escape pod area, which seems comically large for its purpose. So what I would suggest, CIG, is that since this room is directly over the torpedo room, that instead you make it a gallery looking down into the torpedo room, and that there be ladder access from the torpedo room to the escape pod room, much like there is on the Constellation. Note that there are no escape pods on the lower deck at all, so anybody on the lower deck in an evacuation would have to make their way to the upper deck under conditions where the lifts may not be working, thus the need for stairs. Further back, we have the lift to the starboard, the Armory and commanding officers' quarters to port side. For reasons that I will get into for a moment, they might want to switch the position of the Armory and commanding officers' quarters. Then across on the starboard, the captain's quarters. Then there are cross hallways to the manned turrets. But stop a moment and look at the translucent outline of the turret above. Those things are huge, way larger than the one shown on the original concept. Those are not size 4 guns by a long shot. Are we going to see a weapons upgrade on the Polaris in the future? It sure looks like it. Next is the crew mess on the port and the crew bunks on the starboard, and it is a little unclear if we are seeing 4 double bunks, as seems to be the case on the 3D image, or 6 as might be interpreted on the floor plan. Neither are consistent with the ship page saying that the maximum crew is 16. Also, there are only 12 escape pods, even though there is room for more. So either there are 4 double bunks, which plus the captain and CO makes for 10, and 2 spare escape pods, or there are 6 double bunks and there are too few escape pods. But honestly, there should be more escape pods in general for reasons I will get into in a moment. Then on the starboard side, there is a docking port, which looks like it was added as an afterthought and really makes no sense why it is there. What I would suggest instead is to put it in the empty space here, where you could put the spacesuit storage and a reasonably sized vestibule airlock, and then maybe instead of just that tiny round docking collar, have the real McCoy extending docking port like on the Hammerhead or 890. A ship this size deserves one of those. That is why I would reverse the CO and Armory, to put the Armory closer to locations where you would be going EVA. Then we have the hangar, which in the prior concept had an elevating flight deck, and there are some interesting additions surrounding the new flight deck. On the starboard side, 2 escape pods and 2 prisoner cells, although there is room for more. And on the port side, 2 more escape pods and a medical suite, which, just guessing here, has 2 Tier 3 and 2 Tier 2 beds. Plus, there is access to the remaining 3 manned turrets. And again, they all look much larger than the prior concept and much larger than size 4 guns. Turning to the flight deck itself, it would appear to be intended to be what CIG calls an extra small metrics, 24 by 32 meters, 12 meters tall. But slightly poking into this space is a small cargo lift, which appears to hold standard 1 SCU boxes. 4 are shown, but it looks like there is space for 4 more, and I'm guessing they're able to be stacked too high, or 16 SCU at a time on the lift max. So let's go down to the lower level and proceed to the aft, to bow. At the rear is the engineering area, which appears to have a main level, indicated in purple, and a mezzanine level, indicated in blue. Then there is a huge engineering area with a catwalk around the outside, which, since it was on the lower engineering area, means it will be most likely looking underneath or equal to the huge equipment. This engineering area is underneath the main flight bay above. Then there is the lower stop of the 16 SCU small cargo lift mentioned earlier. Then the main cargo area with a very unique addition, a side entrance cargo ramp. Now, the spec sheet for the Polaris shows it as having 216 SCU of cargo space. They show 12 containers and a fairly large gap between them. Now, is that gap needed to get the full 216 SCU of cargo? Apparently not. With 12 containers, each would have to carry 18 SCU, and based on the scale of other things, that is reasonable for the boxes that are being shown. So that big aisle in between is free for what? Say, vehicles? Actually, let's be honest. Nobody is going to use a ship this big just to haul less than the half of the capacity of a Caterpillar. No, this entire deck is going to be used for vehicles. But which vehicles? I don't think a Tonk will fit. The ceiling is too low for the 5-meter tall vehicle. But will a 2.2-meter tall Ursa rover fit? I think quite so, as well as every rover, buggy, and bike smaller than that. Possibly in double-digit quantities if needed. And what about spacecraft? The Merlin and Archimedes are definite possibilities, particularly if we can get the ability to put the landing gear down without putting the wings up. The Pisces would be a possibility at 3.2 meters tall, but based on this, most likely not much else, plus the Razors. Either way, though, the possibility of using the Polaris Corvette to land a high-mobility force of Star Marines is a tasty thought. That side entrance door and ramp is a truly interesting change from the original concept, which made no mention of it at all as far as I can tell. Then we go upstairs on each side of a rather large space that is unlabeled and serves no apparent purpose, or at least it didn't serve an apparent purpose until just a couple seconds ago. Why not line it with jump seats and prep space for that aforementioned high-mobility Space Marine squad? And then, having completed our transit to the bow, we have the Torpedo Room, with 4 launching tubes for those massive size 10 torpedoes, as well as the autoloaders for them. That's my analysis of what we saw of the interior rework. My main takeaways are a potentially massive upsize in the guns on the Polaris, a reduction in the likely crew size, and the addition of a huge side ramp and a roomy, if low-ceiling, vehicle and cargo bay. Now, will we see a price increase from the current $750 price for it? Well, I won't predict the future, but if the prior specs were justifiable by the size 4 guns, then for whatever these new size guns are, yes, then at least when it goes to flyable. Now, a reminder of our giveaways. We have the Killing Time until 3.18 contest for the most impressive landing of a ship Hercules size or larger. See the video in the description on that. And then we have our Grow the Channel shape giveaway for the winner's choice of the RXI Galaxy Magical Modular Moving Mining Medic Machine or the Merchantman Banu Big Box Bargain Bazaar. 1 entry per video. Members, you're entered automatically for this video. And non-members, just subscribe and comment with the secret word. And the secret word for this video is your estimate of the size of the turret guns in the new rework based on the size of something else in that image. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Daniel Raymond for Ray's Guide.